What's up, fam bam? Welcome back to PerPlur's Makeshift Guide to GregTech New Horizons. Even though it's not much of a guide, it's more or less me trying not to embarrass myself. But aside from that, today we actually had a lot of advancements. We made our very first Tinker's Construct hammer, which is going to help mining tremendously, and we also made our very first bricked blast furnace to finally start making steel. So, without further ado, let's get into this, and thank you for tuning in. And now we're back for another day. Now, we have done quite a bit of expansion for the farm, and honestly, it's starting to look great. It's starting to provide food for me to be able to survive, that's for sure. But I do want to work a little more on the farm, but that's not entirely the goal currently. Our goal and our current, I'm going to say, hold on progression is our tools, because I can only get so far with a flint shovel and an iron pickaxe. Now, that will require us to make a Tinker's Construct smeltery. And we have two ways of going about this. We can either go and steal all the materials from a village, or we can make them ourselves. Now, I am going to choose the harder route of making it ourselves, because with this, we will not only get 2 loot bags for the Steam Age, we will also get 10 concentrated essence berries, which we can grow, and if I am correct, yes, they can be turned into liquid XP, and for anyone who does or does not know, liquid XP can be used to make a variety of different things, and will be very, very useful in our journey. So let's get to doing this. For this quest, we need 123 sand, 123 gravel, and 82 clay dust. So I'm just going to get 2 stacks of each, and we're going to come over here, and to make clay dust, I believe a mortar and clay gives you small piles of clay dust, which you can use to turn into clay dust. Now we are going to need a little more clay, so we might end up using all of our clay for this. And I actually don't think it's going to be enough clay. No. So I do have to get a little more clay. And just like that, there we go. We have enough clay dust. Now we need to make grout, which is water with 3 sand, 3 gravel, and 2 clay dust. And I think it's just in any order you want it. So pretty much what we do is we can come up here, 42 there, and whatever that is. And now we just need to get all of the water. And just like that, now we have all of our grout, which is 2 stacks and 40. Our next thing is going to be smelting it, so we all know how that is, and let's just get that done and out of the way. Now, I was wrong in some of my studies when I said let's just smelt it up. I forgot to even look at what you needed to do first. You actually need to put the grout around a wooden form, just like making bricks, to make the unfired seared bricks, and then you can smelt them up. Now, while I was waiting for these to smelt up, I did run over to, where was it? It was the village over here with that Tinker's smeltery, and I went and mined it up just because it won't complete this quest, but it'll give me extra bricks. So now I need to make 28 seared bricks, a smeltery controller, a seared tank, 2 seared faucets, a casting channel, smelter drain, casting basin, a seared stone, and a casting table. Now, to do all this, we're going to bookmark it all so that we know what we're doing, that is. Alrighty, and we're going to come over here. We need 28 of these. Oh wow, we need buckets of water. Okay, we'll do that last. Let's make this one. That should be easy, because we can make a furnace. And just like that, there's the smeltery controller. Now we need the seared tank. And I'm going to, we only need 1 for right now. We need the seared faucets. We need 2 of those. And how many casting channels did we need? We need 2 casting channels. Easy enough. We need a smeltery drain. How many smeltery drains did it want? 2 smeltery drains. Okay, that's what I figured. It didn't... Huh. It didn't count my casting channels. Well, we'll make 2 more smeltery drains. Why not? And then next we need a basin and a casting table. But we need that seared stone first. And that seared stone is going to require us to actually make the smeltery first. And I assume that's just from putting cobblestone in. Yes. Alrighty. Cool. So we are going to set this smeltery up right here. I think this should be good. We don't need entirely too much space, and I know this is quite a terrible area to set this up. But then again, I don't have a base yet, but we're going to figure that out this episode. There's no doubt about that one. Now, for setting up this smeltery, you need a 3x3 in the ground, and that's where you place the bricks, which are in here. I was like, where are the bricks? You put a 3x3 in the ground, and then you cover it on all 3 sides. Now, I believe for this one, you put the tank down here, the smelter right there, and you can put the drain right here. Okay, so it turns out okay, so the tank has to be on the same level as the controller. Alrighty, that's chill. Now I need to go get some lava. And thankfully, I do know where... That's awesome. Alrighty. I do know where some lava is. The only problem is safely collecting it. And that is where we need to kill 6 cows and get through all this. But I don't actually have to do that right now because I think I should have this. Should have most of this stuff. Let me craft those up really quick. And there we go. Just like that, after accidentally crafting an extra one, which sucks, I was able to get the 2 pizza gloves that I need, and we just put those there, and that'll stop me from burning when I pick up lava. Now, if I am correct, yep, lava right there. And with the pizza gloves, you do have to hold it in your hand because, as you saw, if I take my hand off of it, I will start to burn. So the pizza gloves only work with, like, actually holding it, that is. And just like that, you put the lava in, and all you have to do is sit in here, wait for it all to smelt up, and voila, we're going to have our 1 seared stone done. And just like that, I made enough seared stone to smelt up actually 2 blocks of seared stone so that we can set up all 4 of these smelter drains with 4 casting tables. Now we just have to wait for this to cast, and we just repeat that process with that piece of stone. Come over here and make the casting table. And just like that, you're not prepared. Which I have a feeling we are not at all prepared. And that's the irony of that quest. Next on our agenda is going to be heading over here and making better tools. And that's going to start with making casts. And these casts require brass, which is 1 zinc to 3 copper. We do have the copper, I just don't know about the zinc. And looking in here, I want to say we have something of zinc around here, because I know I went, yep, zinc dust right there. We have 1 zinc dust. So if I put in the 1 zinc dust and 3 copper, soon enough we'll have brass. Now, like the quest book was saying, if we head down all the way down here to coins, 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 it said that zinc gravel was purchasable, and it is. And for 25 blacksmith coins, which we do have. And we are going to buy that because the zinc is going to be very, very useful. And we'll do 4 zinc, and that'll be 12 copper. And what we're going to do is we're going to go smelt that up, and that is going to give us a good amount of brass to start messing around with. Put that all in there, and it'll start smelting up. Now here comes the fun part with the stencil tables and the part builders. We are going to need cobblestone for this. Now to start making basic casts, we're going to need the stone heads, because this will be able to cast around, if that makes sense. And that's going to be the 3 casts for that. Now the next casts I want to go for is the hammerhead, the large plate, the tough tool binding, and the tough tool rod. And if we look in here, well, unfortunately, I did forget one crucial step to this. And that is going to come down here with steel and obstinate. But we have a way of getting around that. But we're not going to quite do that quite yet. And I'll show you why. Let's make these first few plates, and then we'll see from there. Now that we have the brass smelted up, all I have to do is click like that, and now we have the first 3 casts made. And now what we're going to do is, I believe these all take 1 material, which they do. So we're going to get 3 bronze. Put it in here, and just like that, with bronze smelted up, click it down, head over here, place our 3 casts, smelt them all up, and just like that, there's a bronze pickaxe head, a bronze shovel head, and a bronze axe head. And that completes making better tools. Now to finish this process off, I'm going to need a little flint. We're going to come in here, repair these tools fully. Then we are going to put the tools in there with their new heads. And just like that, we have bronze tools. Voila. Now, we're going to explain how we're going to get around this. Alrighty, so I know I said we were going to explain how we're going to get around this, but we're not actually going to get around this. We're actually going to go about doing it. I don't know why I said that. But to start off, we need to make more advanced alloys, and that is going to require us to make a steam alloy smelter. And that is done by this little recipe right here with some bronze fluid pipes, 2 furnaces, and a brick bronze hull, which does require bricks. Now, before we do that, we also are going to need power, or steam in this case, and we don't have an easy source to get steam. Obviously, we can use coal, but we need water, and that is where the water tank comes in, and that can be found in the multi-block goals right here, the water dilemma. And I already have the sticky resin. Now I just need the iron rods and the planks. And frankly, I don't have enough iron. But we'll deal with that in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, make this bricked bronze hull. Make sure it counts in the quest first. Not going to make that mistake. And then come over here and make our very first steam alloy smelter. Forgot to add in smelter. And to break that, I do need the wrench. Next, we are going to do exactly what I said beforehand, and that is going to be make this water tank siding. And currently we're missing 124 wood, or planks at least, which is easy enough. And we are missing a little bit of a file. So let's craft up that file, and once we do so, we should be able to craft it all up, and there's the water tank. Now, how this water tank works, and I'm going to show it right now, right here seems actually perfect. So what these water tanks are is you place them in a 3x3 with a gap in the middle, and it'll form a multi-block. And as you can see, it starts generating water. This generates 20 liters a second, or 20 milliseconds a second, I think is the conversion. I might be wrong, but 1,000 liters is a bucket, as we know. And this will slowly generate water. And as long as it is exposed to the sky and has the highest humidity possible, we will get infinite water. And now our only concern is pumping this into the base, which is going to be easy enough using using bronze pipes, for that matter of fact. And that is actually going to, if I press the right button, that is going to make us right here. It's going to complete a quest for us. And once we do this, we're going to do that. And now, let's see, where was that thing located? Was it right behind here? Yeah, it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our wrench and come right over here and, how do I want to do this? I'm going to place it right here. And I'm going to move these trophies because, oh yeah, I got little trophies in between episodes. The dates on them are wrong, but that's what happens when it doesn't give you the trophies on time. Now is it? And we're just going to place this right there, I guess. What we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to need 2 of these. 24 bronze is expensive. 8 bronze. No, I'm going to take this because this is way more valuable. So I can do that. Way more valuable, like I said. Now what we're going to come over here is we're going to do that. And with our wrench, which is already in our inventory, we can connect it and guide the pipes so that they export out. And now this thing fills with water. And we are going to need one more pipe now that I look at it. We are going to need one more pipe. And that is going to be to take out the steam and pump it into that machine. Now, all we have to do, I believe, is put coal into this thing, and this little bar will slowly start to heat up, and this steam will backlog into this machine right here, and then we will be able to move on to the next part of this episode. And that is going to be a very important alloy. And just like that, as you can see, we are starting to gather steam in this thing. Now, one thing is we are going to have to keep a very high watch on this because we will run out of steam since our steam production is not very quick. But just for example, I'm going to put in a 1-to-4, so I was wrong actually in my calculations. I thought it was a 1-to-3. That means I actually need... Oh, no, I was right in my calculations. I just put it in wrong. Just like that, and as you can see, our steam is rapidly decreasing. We now have 1 red alloy. And I have to do that 14 more times. And just like that, we now have our 14 red alloy ingots. And just because red alloy is so expensive, we're going to get a steam bag. A steam bag? A steam bag. Now, we need a wire cutter. And that's pretty easy. It's just like this with any material. And because I already went ahead and set this up beforehand, there we go. Now we have our very own wire cutter. And now that we've done that, we're going to get another loot bag. Why not? The next is a piston. The hell is that? Good question. And that just requires us to have 1 piston, and we are missing 56 planks, which I should be able to, yeah, just like that, craft it all up. And what are we missing? It's quite a good question. A fence. Well, that would be a... We don't have sticks. How about that? What a thing to miss. Sticks. And still not cool. There's 2 pistons. I don't think I needed 2 pistons, but we're gonna get 2 more pistons just because they're expensive. Now, next, I know I'm like rushing through this very quickly, but I'm trying to get down to this big old Blastoff right here. So next we are going to make a steam compressor. Now all of this has been leading up to us being able to make steam machines, and the wire cutter is a very essential part to making these machines. I really don't think they really were, but either way, the wire cutter will be very useful come LV age. Now, right now, we're going to make a compressor, which with the compressor, we can turn ingots into blocks, which is going to be very, very useful for the thing that we are kind of aiming for by the end of this episode. Now, to make the compressor, it's 1 bronze hull and some bronze fluid pipes and 2 pistons. That's why I crafted 2 pistons. And the bronze hull is just bronze plates. So now, if I go in here, we should have enough bronze to make our very first steam compressor. How about that? And now we've unlocked a huge portion of things we can do. But right now, we're worried about this little pink ingot right here called opsonite. And to get there, we need to blast off. And that is going to require us to get steel, which we need a bricked blast furnace, which we can find over in the multi-block goals right here in time to get some steel. And that is going to require us to get 1,000 clay, 24 cobblestone, 12 flint, 28 iron plates, 4 blast furnaces, a bunch of random dusts, some unfired clay bricks, some brick dust, some clay dust, compressed fire clay, fire brick, gypsum, fire bricks, and a brick blast furnace. It's a lot, I know. So that's going to be a very long collection list, and pretty much what I'm going to do is go no life the hell out of this game just to be able to do that. So, yeah. And just like that, I have officially cheesed the recipe because, frankly, I started collecting all these resources. I'm still collecting all these resources. And mining all of the gypsum for that blast furnace is way too slow using a bronze pickaxe. So I have decided to just cheese the recipe. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean? Well, the whole reason we needed steel was to be able to get opsonite, because 8 opsonite uses 2 steel dust. Well, I decided that instead of waiting and mining, let me go outside so we can see, I decided I'm just going to go adventuring, and I found right here, one of those blacksmiths with 4 steel ingots, which was enough steel to make 16 opsonite, which is what was required for the tool forge. So we're going to head over here, smelt this up, and just like that, we're going to put the opsonite on the bottom, come right over here, and smelt up 2 plates. And as you can see, we already started smelting up the few things that we are going to need, and I will get into that in a second, so not to spoil it quite yet. Now we need 1 more opsonite plate, and the bronze should still be in there. Good. We are going to need a little more bronze. And then, just like that, we're going to pour that out. Just let it sit. We are going to come over here, put our 2 opsonites right there. That right there. That right there, and that right there. Oh, well, shit. We need a hammer. And just like that, I cheesed it Even though I wanted to do it the right way, I just couldn't. And because I moved so quickly in that intro, you're probably wondering, how'd you get the obsidian dust? Because that was one of the things needed. That explains that and the concentrated essence berries that we got, I think, last episode or earlier this episode. Frankly, I don't remember. But pretty much, as you saw in the beginning of this clip, if I can find it, there it is. For making the obsidian dust, we needed obsidian dust, and that is using 4 buckets of XP, which is relative to about 3 levels of XP a bucket, I think. But just like that, we now have the tool forge. And that is why we are going to come over here, grab our bronze hammerhead, our other bronze large plate, our bronze tough binding, and our bronze tough rod, which are, like I showed, all brass molds of the, obviously, other ones. And I was able to get more of these using paper from the paper bark trees out there. What we're going to do is we're going to come into here, the hammer. I didn't need a tough binding. Whatever, I can use that. We're going to put our 2 bronze large plates there, our bronze hammerhead, and our bronze tough tool rod. And just like that, we now have a bronze hammer. And just because that was the end goal of this episode does not mean I'm not going to finish doing what I was doing before cheesing it. We are still going to get the primitive, or the bricked blast furnace. So I just have to go finish mining all that up. But this was the ultimate goal, was to get this bronze hammer. Because if you remember, I was mining ores one at a time. But if we go down into the mines, you'll see that now I can mine in a 3x3. Which is, I think I can agree, much faster than mining in a 1x1. So just like that, it's going to make mining 10 times faster. Now, I'm going to take this lava. This lava is going to be useful. Now I'm going to go finish collecting up and doing what I was doing. And after what seemed like way too much time, I officially, I think, have everything collected. And that ranges from the fire bricks to these weird things, to the gypsum dust, to the calcite, and the 4 blast furnaces that we will need. And now it's a whole big line of crafting. And pretty much what we do is the water tank back here, fill up my buckets with water. Then we come over here. Oh, we actually need empty buckets for this. Craft this up. Now we have 3 buckets of concrete. Come in here, and now we have 3 fire bricks. So now it's just back and forth of that. And just like that, 36 fire bricks. Now if we come over here, we should be able to make our bricked blast furnace. And now is the time of the episode. That has taken way too long. Finally time to get some steel. And if we go up into multi-block goals, right here, time to get some steel. And we're going to grab the gold ore berries, why not? And we're going to have all of this, the coal coke and everything. Actually, we will use that coal coke. Now, constructing this blast furnace is just pretty simple. It's a 4x3x3, or no, 3x3x4 with a solid middle. And what this is going to be used for, if you haven't already whoa, where's my grammar? If you don't already know by what I've talked about earlier, it is used to make steel. And I believe steel is somewhere in here. Steel ingots right here in the bricked blast furnace. For coal coke, it is a 1-to-2 for steel. So if I come over here and I grab 16 iron to 32 coal coke, and we're going to place this bricked blast furnace. We'll place it right here for right now, but it will be getting moved because of a good old thing in GregTech New Horizons called pollution. And hopefully we never get to a point where pollution is a problem. And I don't really know, to be honest. So we will definitely see. And let me fix that. And just like this, if we put the iron and coal coke in there, we are starting to smelt up steel. Now, to finish this episode off, we're going to wait about 600 years for 8 steel to process so that we can blast off to the future. That was corny as hell. But 240 seconds, realistically, that's, I mean, what? 1600 seconds? A little more? A little less? I don't know. But once that's processed, we'll finish this episode off. And after a little bit of waiting, and I mean quite a bit, we now have 16 steel, which blast off. And now we are finally getting farther and farther into the steam age. And honestly, we've got some pretty big upgrades ahead of us. So, yeah. This was a pretty good one. We got a lot done. We got one of my favorite things done, which is the Tinker's Bronze Hammer, or Tinker's Hammer in general. And next episode, it's going to be a lot of steam. That's for sure. So, yeah. Thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.